Hello to you, my name is Tash Mitch and I am an energy alchemist, I'm a healer, and I'm also a business and life mentor. And I'm actually talking to women all over the globe at the moment about what it is to sink into our womanhood, what it is to sink into our divine femininity, and what it is to own our power as yin expression, basically. And today I'm going to be speaking to the absolutely gorgeous Nikki King. I came across Nikki King's work through an entrepreneurial hub that she has created here in our hometown of Brighton and Hove, where she basically gets community of women together and, you know, speaks about business and entrepreneurship, but also when you get women together, it's always about heart and spirituality and soul as well. And alongside that, she's a psychotherapist. Well, I'll let her explain and kind of introduce herself. But for me, what actually really drew me to Nikki and Nikki's work is her visceral love of nature and her visceral love of earth and earthiness. And I came through to her work through her words, through her poetry. I came to her work through just marrying words and images together and creating a visceral experience for people. And then after communicating with her, I discovered that she's a medicine woman, really, and sinking into, you know, the wisdom of the earth to bring that medicine forward. So Nikki is absolutely gorgeous to be in circle with you and to share you with others as well.
Thank you so much, Tash. I'm utterly thrilled and just honoured to be having this conversation with you. It feels timely. It feels powerful, and I want to say in sync with nature, actually, and the earth and everything that's going on for us. And yeah, I'm about to sort of launch into a little bit about who I am.
Please do, yes.
I tend to eschew labels and things, but I guess, you know, what I'm here to do, what I feel I'm here to do, is to support women into empowering women into becoming more of who they are, to really reclaim their unique and innate essence. And as you mentioned, the ways that I'm doing that is through creating community of women, where we're coming together in what I feel is a very different way. It's been very important to me, having grown up in a very competitive feminine energy, that actually what we're really bringing in now is a sense of, as you said, heart and real sort of support and co-creating and just loving each other, actually, which feels like the true feminine and not the sort of, the competitive feminine that I certainly grew up with. And then the other side of it is my sort of the business that's coming into being, which is a range of essences, which for me do the same thing almost as the hub. They're a container for transformation to take place. So it's the connection of the earth and the words that come into an essence to support women to become all that they are.
Yes. I'm hearing about communicating with your heart, basically communicating with the heart and the essence of what you are. Because I feel essence. When we speak of essence, we're speaking of the pulsation of the heart, or that's how it comes across to me. You know, the heart holds our essence, doesn't it? Through our bloodline, through the pulsation, through the vibration of blood moving through our veins, through every aspect of who we are. The heart feels like it's the keeper of our essence, basically.
Yes. And what I'm feeling with that as well is that when we tune into, because I'm very much about us owning our own unique essence, And so what I'm hearing when you say that is actually when we connect fully into our own hearts and we truly understand what our hearts yearn for and all that it means to be in our heart, then we can start living our essence out in the world.
Yes. The other piece that's coming through really, really strongly with your work is that it's connected to earth. It's connected to our physical. It's connected to us being beings of this planet, of being earth beings. And we were speaking previously, just a minute ago, about sometimes how arrogant we can be as human beings, assuming that we are the superior force on this planet, assuming that we hold all the consciousness and the wisdom, when ultimately everything that we are physically is a gift from this planet. We wouldn't have the building blocks of our body, we wouldn't have our physical structure, we would not be here if we weren't gifted with every iota of our physical being from the planet. And I'm hearing what you're saying in terms of connecting to that physicality really strongly.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, as we were saying, I think for me to believe that we have power over the earth, yeah, I mean, it's nonsensical for me. Actually, it's letting go of that egoic self, and that journey for me has been very much about, you know, I wanted to live in the etheric realms. You know that, and I think as women, we have more of an innate ability to connect into the spiritual world and the etheric. And actually my whole journey has been about, but actually I can't serve the earth, I can't serve humanity if I'm not fully embodied. My journey's been very much about, you know, nature and the earth being my muse that's helped me get into my body.
Yes.
You know, the earth is so solid, she's so powerful, she's so here, she's so present, she's so visceral. And that's how she serves us.
Yes.
You know, she gifts us through being very present and very grounded. And until we are, you know, we can't walk the earth with whatever gifts that we're here to serve with.
Yes.
That's my understanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love to speak into the medicine woman, because I feel so much when you're speaking about that connection to the wisdom and the intelligence of the earth, it's then taking that wisdom into the heart and creating medicine with it. That's what I'm hearing from you, basically. So just speak into the medicine woman and what that means to you in terms of, if you were embodying the medicine woman, what would that feel like and look like?
You see, when I embody my medicine woman, I know that everything I need is within me. Nothing is missing. And even things that I haven't necessarily studied in this lifetime or read about, or somehow I have an innate knowledge of it. And that for me is the wisdom that, and it's funny because as I'm saying that, I can feel like the shoots coming through the earth, because it's like these where the medicine for me comes from the ground.
Yeah.
You know, it's very earthy, it's very mineral, it's very crystal. It's that it comes out of the womb of the earth. You know, and if you think about you know, our use of herbs and plants and flowers, and you know that it is medicine.
Yes.
And so what I'm feeling is that the earth is wanting to share her wisdom with us. And actually, again, it's like as human beings, once we remove ourselves from the egoic self, or at least put it to one side, we can tap into and allow the plants and the earth to talk to us.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, they have a voice, and it's this sense, for me, it's this sense of it's all there, nothing is missing, and it's waiting for us.
Yes.
The earth is waiting for us to open ourselves up enough, be grounded enough, because actually, and this is what I'm really getting actually in this as we're talking, is that the necessity for being grounded is that the wisdom and the power and the potency of what she has for us is so strong that actually in order for us to receive it and embody it, we have to be fully planted on the ground.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that actually resonates so strongly, because just to give you a little piece for me, like I keep getting flashes in terms of meditation that then has me scurrying off, trying to sort of research to marry what I'm actually seeing in terms of like, okay, is anybody else seeing this? And one of the things that was coming through really strongly was the crystal core center of the earth. And the fact that this compression that's been occurring over billions of years has now created a frequency of energy, a frequency and a vibration of energy that humanity isn't accustomed to. It's not something that we've been privy to previously. And this energy is rising up and it's demanding that we clear our own self so we can actually receive this energy. So this actually, it sort of ties in completely with what you're saying. And it also ties in with the heart as well, because for me personally speaking, the heart holds so much for us in terms of just flow and in terms of what we allow to come from our spirituality and get rooted on, you know, in our blueprint on this planet, and also what we allow for the blueprint of the planet to come up through us and find its spiritual source, basically.
Yes. And really, what I'm seeing is the circle of life, and to me that goes through the heart. So whether it's the heart to the head,
yes,
or the heart to the sacral and root, it's the circle through the heart.
Yes.
You know, and when we go into the heart, we connect to everything.
Yes.
You know, we connect to the universe. We connect to the void within, but it's actually what I'm really getting with that as well is, you know, we're moving out of a time where we've been taught to look very externally for inspiration, for you know, to glean knowledge from out there, from other people, or from, you know, even the universe. I mean, I had a very visceral experience of dancing once, like remembering that I was kind of looking up and seeking it from out there, and it's kind of like you're dancing to embody, not to, you know, draw information down.
Yes.
And so now for me, the heart is very much about receiving the, you know, the wisdom from within ourselves.
Yes.
It's not an external happening outside of ourselves, it's all within.
That's such a different way, isn't it? It's such a different perception.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to come to that, and when I came to that, when I realized that divinity is actually planted as a seed within us, rather than something we pray to, it was such a shift. It was kind of, it was a shift and an honoring at the same time. You know, a complete and utter honoring of this gift that I've been given, because we haven't really been shown or taught in our society on a collective mass level to honor that, you know. So for me, it was kind of like, it was almost like a 180 flip, like, you know, 1 minute I was over here and the next minute it was kind of like, whoa, okay, that's a completely different perspective.
Yeah. And the other thing I'm feeling with that as well is the, you know, when we think about the seed being planted in your own body or your body, it's then about honouring this physical vessel that we've been given to be here with.
Yes.
That's also been, you know, and I think it's a journey for a lot of women, is this honouring of the actual physical body. You know, I've bypassed my body for so long.
Yes.
And actually, I'm really learning that unless I love her, nurture her, honor her, respect her, because actually, yes, to think that the whole universe is within us, it's like, well, of course, I have to really take care of this.
Yes. Yes. Nikki,
Yeah.
you're disappearing into the dusk.
Well, it's getting dark, isn't it? Let me put the light on.
Brilliant.
That's
there you are again. That's kind of like us. Is what, like, it's not even 4:30 yet, and like literally this. But this is what winter does, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's.
I was just going to say, I just saw just had a vision of a daisy then, as though, and again, it's just that innate wisdom, isn't it? If we just tune into what's being shown to us, daisies open up as the light comes up, and then they close at night.
Yeah.
It's the simplicity,
yeah.
And yet it's that if we just tune into it and see it and are aware of it, it changes our whole vision of how we live and how we learn to honor our own rhythms and cycles, and and be in tune with the earth.
Yeah. You know what I was hearing when just before you went to turn the light on, I was hearing that piece of what we would say self-love, but that piece of actually turning the love inwards and shining it so it radiates within. And as women, this is something as well that is a perspective shifting thing, because I think collectively we're so used to giving outwards, and feeling really guilty when we actually turn the lens inwards and go, okay, well, I need this now. So I need to actually kind of like, create some space to give me what I need. There's so much guilt around that a lot of times. And yet for all, if we don't do that, the level of communication doesn't have the ability to come forward for us,
Yeah, and I speak about this quite a lot, how actually in terms of, if we think about ourselves as vessels, and if we want to give, if we want to share, even if it's we're sharing from our heart and we're sharing pure, authentic, integrity-fueled messages and wisdom and power, and it's like actually, but if our vessel is empty,
yes,
we can't sustain it.
Yeah.
And I've had that experience of giving, and then I get home and I crash. So actually, we have to fill our own vessel up first before we can give it to other people. And you're right, there's so much guilt and shame around that. And yet, actually, it's essential.
Completely, absolutely. And almost in demand of like a ritualistic thing that we do in order to give ourselves that, something that we come to every day, or we come to every morning or every evening, but some way that we nourish from the inside.
Yes.
I'm hearing your essence is doing that, basically. Because it's that thing, it's that thing that actually makes you think of yourself and makes you connect with your divinity when you reach for it,
Yes. And you're right, and there is a ritual in it. And again, I think, ritual has been taken into, it's been given religious connotations, or, and not that that's necessarily wrong, but for me, ritual is about, it takes practice to be a human being. And it takes practice. That's done for me.
Yeah.
And it takes practice and sort of repetitive for things to shift and transform. And what I've also noticed is that actually the things that have sustained most are the things that take the time.
Yes.
So it's like flowers growing, or, it's like things that take time yield the most fruit. And so for me, rituals can be anything from journaling first thing in the morning to, going for a walk in nature. And yes, but you're right, it's like reaching for that bottle of essence, or lighting a candle, or whatever it is. It's that point of coming into stillness with yourself and saying, okay, this is time for me.
Yes.
Whether it's 5 minutes or half an hour, it doesn't matter. It's the intention of giving yourself a gift of time and connection to yourself.
Yes. And that's, for me, that is a big part of the healing journey. To be able, because it's in the stillness that we heal, isn't it? It's in the stillness that we get the wisdom that drops through. We get the information that comes to us that we need at that particular point to figure out where it is that we're moving forward to. But it's also in the stillness that we actually get our own navigational system and our own internal guidance that is always there humming in the background, but we're so noisy a lot of the times that we communicating with it becomes something that we need to learn to do until we don't need to learn to do it anymore, and I feel like the stillness provides that, and that feels so much where you come from as well.
I tend to think of my essence as being, or my medicine is stillness, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, because when we find that, we were talking about this as well before we came on air, was that, stillness for me is that balance point that runs right through the center of our body, that is our center. So it's that when we come, and stillness for me is in the heart. So it's like when we find, or it's like a plumb line from the heart down to the cerebral root. So it's like when we find that point of stillness and that ability to keep coming back to our center, then actually all the distractions and all the things that are going on around us and in the world have less, it's not that we're not aware, but they have less of an impact energetically on our actual being.
It's interesting, when you said that, when you said the stillness is in the heart, I was seeing how much the pulse plays a part in that. Because the blood, for example, water is very conductive, isn't it? It's basically conductive of the energy around us. It's conductive within us. It carries information. You only have to look at the work of Dr. Emoto, for example, of every sort of emotional signature is stamped in water, basically. And we're 70% water, and the heart is a conductor of that water, basically. The heart is a conductor of all of that energy, that electricity through us. So when you were just speaking about stillness in the heart, I was seeing that when the pulse becomes a slower beat, it informs us, and it informs the electricity within us of something completely different that allows for an opening. I've never seen it this way, so it's just like, it was just a flash of a vision when you were talking about that, that basically that slowing of the pulse that informs our blood of something different, and informs the signature within the blood of something different, which felt really beautiful when you were saying that.
I really feel this. And actually, because the other vision I was getting was of when you drop a pebble into a pool of water, just sends out that really gentle ripple.
Yes.
So it has the time for the whole body to actually receive the information, rather than throwing a great big rock in, which tends to cause a bit of a splash. Yeah. So actually, in the case of stillness, actually the body has time to recalibrate and integrate if the pulse is slow. And actually I feel that as well in terms of, when we then take our work out into the world, if it comes from a place of stillness, it sends ripples out, which people are able to receive more easily, rather than a sort of tidal wave of
Wow. And as you said that, I was just seeing the word embodiment, that basically that is what embodiment is that infusion of a particular frequency that we carry as a signature that goes out into the world. And when we think of our work, for example, we can be doing our work from up here and like basically not really having any connection with it, you know, physically, emotionally, even feeling wise. And so the blood, the core of us doesn't get informed of what we're doing. We're just kind of like speaking heads, basically. But for us to really embody it is on a pulse level, isn't it? It's really on a blood level that we embody.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, as you say, I've not thought about it like that before. But, you know, in terms of our bodies being 75% water, or it's, of course, makes so much sense.
Yes. Yeah. And then it brings me to the magic of what we have with the heart or what we have with the body. I mean, just and this is one of the things that I feel is so beautiful about conversations like this. I mean, it reminds me, it reminds you, it reminds anybody who comes to this, that we are magical. And sometimes when we say magical, it feels like, especially when we're speaking from a point of view that could be deemed esoteric or something like that, it feels a little bit like this. But ultimately, you know, I always come back to the fact that we're made of 60 trillion cells. 60 trillion cells. I mean, I don't even know what 60 trillion looks like. Each of those cells is like a drop of consciousness. It's doing things in me at the moment. I have no idea what it's doing. It's animating me. It's giving me life. I don't know where that life is coming from. So how can I possibly not call myself magical?
Absolutely. And what I'm really getting with that as well is that, as you said, you know, in conversation, when you then share that with another person, it's a whole nother level as well.
Yes.
You know, in terms of, we have no idea. Well, we had a baseline of what we were going to talk about, but it's like the magic is allowing that to go where it wants to go.
Yes.
And as you say, you know, people listening to this afterwards, it's the energy of it created, and you can't lose that. Yes. And that for me is magic.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Alchemy, I think that's the other word I love, because alchemy sort of feels, very grounded and kind of comes up through you and works with you, and
and that embodiment element as well, because the blood flows through us and it informs everything. When I think of embodiment, I think of my 60 trillion cells, and I think of my 60 trillion cells being on board with something, and how powerful that is. I mean, when we speak about charismatic people, for example, or when we speak of people that just have a presence and a power about them, ultimately that's what we're speaking of. We're speaking of like 60 trillion cells of consciousness that are just saying yes to the same thing, you know?
Yeah, that have all come on board, that are all aligned in that moment for that person to speak through their heart, through their authenticity, and
and the power of that medicine, the power of that medicine when somebody is actually that embodied and that present in themselves, and there's on a cellular DNA level, the power of the medicine that they extend outwards.
Because again, that for me is then I've had experience of people who when I've heard them speak, I haven't necessarily understood the words they're speaking. So I've been able to feel them so really through their heart. I get it.
Yes.
And it may be really scientific, it may be talking about quantum physics, it may be, but actually on some level, if it's coming through the heart, my 60 trillion cells receive it. They know it.
Yes. Yes. Oh, Nikki, we could go on forever and ever and ever. This is fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing your energy, your essence, and just the beauty of you. Thank you so much for being in space and having this conversation. And basically, I'm going to share links, your links, as the conversation's going forward, so people get a sense of where to find you and how to communicate with you further.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for the invitation and to connect with you in this way and with the community.
Yes.
As this grows, thank you.
If you've really enjoyed this conversation, then check out the Goddess Woman Immersion. It's an 8-week immersion that's going to be taking place from the 1st of January, and it will take you into connecting with yourself and all aspects of yourself as a goddess and as a woman. I hope to see you there.